when I do this, I like to swish it around my mouth a little bit.
I'm not doing that. It tastes like grapefruit. Yeah, it tastes like what? Yeah, like left out squirt. Like if you leave squirt out
I just
for a long
have to
time.
admit before we continue on with this, I hate grapefruit.
So this is why I chose grapefruit. This is why I chose grapefruit because
it tastes like poison.
So number one, all right.
It's so hard to do right. It's a very difficult flavor to work with.
Okay.
And most people, you either love or you hate grapefruit.
It tastes like poison.
It's the Lasagna Ganja podcast and Mr. X to the Z Xzibit.
And I'm your girl, Tammy, a.k.a. the Cannabis Cutie.
That's right. And we are with another Lasagna Ganja episode. Looking forward to this. A lot of stuff happening in the world right now.
Truly.
Yeah. We having some good conversations off air. I think it started with talking about the Cat Williams ripple effect.
Yeah.
And being the age of Aquarius.
Yes.
How do you think being accountable is playing into 2024?
I think it's going to be a huge theme. So far, what we're seeing. I mean, what we saw at the end of 2023 with like Diddy and everything. There's so much stuff that is just happening. So
you think he's going to settle out of that stuff, or you think it's beyond settling?
You think he's going to settle it?
Settle out of all of it.
I think it's beyond. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, these are powerful people,
right?
So things typically happen differently for powerful people.
Yeah. We'll see how that plays out. But on to other news, 2024.
Yeah.
Again, with that theme, there's a lot. The Cat Williams effects. He called out a lot of people.
He did. Great quotes as well.
Right. Do you think it's time for that? Do you think calling out people is good? Do you think talking to people behind closed doors is a better solution instead of playing everything out for the public?
I mean, he got called out first, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he was responding.
Yeah, but it goes back to the same question.
Yeah,
do you think that's a good way to handle things?
I think if you're going to handle it that way, you have to be prepared for what's going to come. If that's how you're going to handle it. And if you're aware of what that is, then go for it. But me personally, I like to handle things internally.
Yeah.
I don't think that the world needs to know about. I actually hate when people put their problems on the internet. Like, it bothers me so much. I'm like, I feel for you, but I don't want to have to be mad at this person or this company because y'all had a falling out. Like, that is not my business. Like, please leave me out of it.
Right.
I love everybody. I'm so sorry it didn't work out. Like,
I mean, like, I know what you're talking about. Like, with people who put their relationships on the internet,
or like with companies. Like, when they fall out with their companies, it's like that is that is like what happened in the bedroom or the boardroom. Y'all, like, we don't need to know.
Yeah.
So, but the calling out, I mean, Kanye's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm very much in 2024. I'm done being like really nice to people.
Really?
I'm always polite, very kind.
You think that's a negative thing?
I think it's a learned behavior as a woman. And I am a very opinionated woman.
Yes.
And that translates to bitch.
Oh, wow. Off top?
Yeah. I mean, what I say, and if a man says it, when I say it, it's risque. It's like, it's like shock factor because I'm a woman.
Oh, well, give me an example because I need to hear this. Give me an example.
I got it all out being raised with my brothers. So I learned to become a woman, especially after I became a mother.
Yeah.
But I think in 2024, I'm done like with the nicety. Like, I'm not going to do the fake stuff anymore. Just
if you don't like them, you don't like them.
If I don't mess with you, I don't mess with you. We'll just keep it at that. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, I've pretty much made a living off that. You know what I'm saying?
I want to be more like you then.
Yeah, there you go. I am so quick to tell somebody to go fuck themselves. It is like I know it in several different languages.
I do it so politely.
I can do it in sign language.
I do it so politely, and I'm done being polite. Like, I'm ready to just say it. Like, I'm nice I'm gonna be polite to people who are polite, but people who are disrespectful, you're gonna get that back now.
Oh, understood. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Yeah. Don't you ever disrespect. Well, shout out to Nims. Shout out to Nims. All Nims 2024.
Bulldog
Fuck
energy.
your life.
Bulldog energy.
Okay, so talking about energy, let's talk about beverages.
Okay.
You see, that was subtle like a sledgehammer.
That was perfect.
Perfect transitions here.
Yeah.
The Lasagna Ganja podcast. Now, today we are dealing with something very interesting.
Okay.
We talk about a lot of stuff on the show, cannabis and edibles and cooking and whatnot, but rarely do we talk about beverages because there's not that many to pick from.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So we've had different things come through, but today we have Dan Wittmer, right?
That's right.
Okay, Dan Wittmer is with a company called Rexis, which is beverages, right?
Yeah, well, we're actually a biosciences company. I know those are scary words to some people when we're talking cannabis, but it actually has been a really fun experience for me coming through cannabis and into this. We actually have over 50 different molecules that we work with. Cannabis is one, right, where we can work with a lot of different molecules that come from the plant there, both on the regulated side and on the hemp side. But we play with everything from caffeine to kratom to
what is kratom? What is that?
You haven't heard of kratom?
You want to take this one?
No, I'll let you take it because I don't have. I know that there are. You know how CBD stores just popped up out of nowhere. Kratom followed right behind it.
Right behind.
What the fuck is kratom?
Yeah.
So kratom is actually a plant that is related to the coffee plant. It's grown in Southeast Asia, and it's actually consumed very similarly in the sense that with coffee, we take the beans, we roast them, we grind them up and make a tea out of it. For kratom, it's similar, except for instead of beans, they actually dry out the leaves, crush them up real fine, and then you can make a tea out of that powder.
This ain't the same place where BDs come from, right? BDs were horrible.
No, I don't think so.
All right, go on. Man, the lung busters.
Yeah, no,
I don't want that. There's a lot of propaganda going on right now that I'm seeing starting to peek through, and it's like, oh, the only reason that they're selling legal cannabis is because it's been modified, it's being enhanced, they're messing with it, it's stronger because they're doing this and that. What do you say to those people who may view this or the molecular changing of the beverage? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you say?
I hear
to
what you're getting after.
Yeah.
We actually don't change anything in essence. We work with hydrophobic molecules. So basically molecules that don't like water. And honestly, the more hydrophobic and the more foul tasting and smelling, our technology actually works better with those. And we can talk a little bit about the technology side of where beverage started and how it's evolved over the last few years. But I mean, ultimately where it started was we really just started taking the oils and putting it into water or other beverages and flavoring.
I thought you were about to say we do shots of oil. I'm about to say, fuck. Fucking A.
No, nothing like that. But, the oil doesn't mix well with water, right? So it's very difficult for your body to get that into its system. It doesn't really mix. And so where we headed after that was we took that oil and we put it through a process to make it more water friendly, right? And that's where you hear the term nano emulsions. Okay, so what they do is they basically take that molecule and they wrap it in what we call a surfactant. Okay, now surfactants actually by themselves have a very soapy and bitter flavor to them. So you add that on top of the cannabis, right? And you've got something that's very bitter that you're putting into a beverage. Okay, so that's kind of the first problem that you have to deal with when you're building a beverage in the cannabis space is you're working with a very bitter product, and you got to mask that because most people they don't want to drink something that's super bitter. I mean, coffee's probably about the most bitter we tolerate, but a lot of people they just they put a lot of cream and sugar and everything else in there.
Guinness Stout to me is bitter. Like that, that kind of that's that in coffee.
Yeah, I mean, and beers, they have their own range of bitterness. But, you know, as you know, cannabis and the hops, they're related.
They're cousins.
Right? They're cousins.
Mhm.
Right?
Hey,
So
okay, good. You learn something new every day. All right.
So, you know, you're working with that bitter product, but you're also working with a very hydrophobic product. So the nano emulsions, they make that molecule a little bit more water friendly. So when it gets infused into the beverage, it'll actually blend in.
Mhm.
The problem is those surfactants, they break down very quickly.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's kind of like they're gluing it together. And no matter what you do with glue over time, it's going to break down. It's just, in this case, it breaks down very quickly. So what we've seen with some beverages is the degradation of that product after it gets packaged can be anywhere from 20 to 30%
Wow.
degradation just in the first 3 months. And if you've built a brand, if you've brought something to market, you know 3 to 6 months is like the duration of time that it typically takes to
It's
get
very
from
perishable.
the manufacturer to the distributor to the retailer into the consumer's hands, right? So by the time it hits the consumer's hands, it's already broken down considerably in the package. And then when you add to it that the breakdown creates the oil to come back. So what you'll find is you'll find a little sheen of oil that sits on top of your beverage if you let it sit there for a minute or two. And that just gets you back to that place where you're basically drinking oil, and oil doesn't mix in your body very well. So the bioavailability, which is your body's ability to take that into your bloodstream, it's very low. So it's anywhere from 6 to 8% roughly for most nano emulsions. The highest bioavailability typically for an isolate in a nano emulsion has been Epidiolex, which is usually around 10 to 12%.
Okay.
So our technology is what we consider to be the next phase in the evolution. And so what we've done is we've actually taken a technology from big pharma, which is called co-crystallization. So what we use a carrier agent, and we fuse the molecule together with that carrier agent. So it's literally like fused together, so it can't break apart. It's not like glue.
What's the carrier agent?
It's a proprietary co-crystal that our CEO picked up a while back, and he's put years of R&D into this to make it work well with different types of molecules. But basically, big pharma, they use co-crystallization to improve bioavailability of their therapeutics.
Okay, don't scare me because we're about to taste some of this shit.
Yeah. So some of this stuff. So
wait a minute.
So
what do we have in front of us today?
So in front of you today, what we've got, I've got 4 different beverages, and what I did is I selected four different brands that all have a grapefruit flavor. Okay, one of the brands is ours. It's a private label brand called Squared.
Okay.
Then I have Can, which is probably one of the most well-known cannabis beverages in the marketplace. They basically helped build the category. Then we've got another product called Cycling Frog, which is another well-known brand in the hemp beverage space. And then there's Rebel Rabbit, same concept. And Rebel Rabbit actually, they've actually got their own manufacturing facility as well. So they kind of manufacture their own product, self-distribute. So all 4 of them are grapefruit flavored.
Right.
And I've kind of just blinded them for you.
But
So
you chose violence today. You chose violence. You came in and was like, "Yo, we about to do the Pepsi challenge on you bitches."
That's right, and that's and so what we talk about with our technology is the input that we work with is completely odorless, completely tasteless. So what that gives us the ability to do is it gives us the ability to build a beverage and then infuse it. Whereas most other companies, they're building the beverage and infusing it at the same time, because they're trying to work with that bitterness, that bitter flavor. They got to add other things to mask it.
So basically what we have in front of us are 4 different cups. They're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's right.
There's 4 beverages here. They're all grapefruit derived. And we're about to see, basically, I guess we're going to try to pick which one is Rexis, right?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to walk through how I usually assess them. And what I typically do is I try and apply the Ganjier standard assessment protocol.
Ganjier, new word. What is that?
So the Ganjier program is a program where you basically learn everything there is about cannabis. You learn everything from history to botany to extraction, how to set up a dispensary menu. But most importantly, what we learn is how to assess flower. And so our job as certified ganjiers is not to walk in and say, this flower is great, this flower is shit, right? But it's to bring value to those two different flowers, because there is a market for low-cost flower.
Yes.
Right? There's a market for high-cost flower.
Yes.
The thing is, how do you know which one's which if you're a consumer? And so what we do is we try and bring value to that equation for the consumer. And we see as consumption lounges are starting to pick up, right, the need for people to be able to sit and talk with a consumer or a patron and kind of walk them through what they should expect out of certain levels of cost and flower and even concentrates. You know, it really just helps them better understand what they're getting themselves into. So I try and apply that same protocol to the beverages, which basically walks you through appearance, aroma, flavor, and effect.
Okay,
right?
so let's get through it. So which one are we doing?
Let's start with number one here.
Okay.
So
everybody has a cup here. Tammy, are you doing this with us?
I am.
All right.
Can you?
I got
Yeah,
you.
thank you. I'm trapped.
It's all good. All good. Okay,
So we gotta do this like wine, like what?
So typically, what I do first is I kind of take a look at it and
Do you spit it back in the cup like wine? Do you do?
No.
We
drinking it. We're drinking it.
All right.
So I'll kind of look to see if there's anything floating in the beverage. Make sure there's no particles. If there's a little sheen, and you can kind of start to see it appear up here. There's a little sheen of oil that kind of collects at the top of your beverage. So that's how you know the product has been breaking down in the can. Okay, because it's turning back into oil. Okay. So the next thing we do is we take a little nose of it. Right. And what you're looking for is you don't want to smell cannabis, right? Like most people, it's not the thing that they want to smell when they're going to drink something. Okay. And so you're looking for that really strong aroma of cannabis. And typically if I'm getting that, it means that the input that they used has broken down considerably, and that's all I'm smelling. I'm not smelling the flavor profile that they built into that beverage.
Copy that.
So the next thing is to take a drink.
All right.
And when I do this, I like to swish it around my mouth a little bit.
I'm not doing that. It tastes like
grapefruit.
Yeah, it tastes like what? Yeah, like left out squirt. Like if you leave squirt out
I just
for a long
have
time.
to admit before we continue on with this, I hate grapefruit.
So this is why I chose grapefruit. This is why I chose grapefruit, because
it tastes like poison.
So number one, all right.
It's so hard to do right. It's a very difficult flavor to work with. Okay. And most people you either love or you hate grapefruit.
It tastes like poison.
so
we tried number one. Let's hit number
Tammy,
two.
if you need to opt out at any point in time.
No, I'm gonna push on.
Look, it's okay.
You're gonna soldier through. I'm
gonna do the test on the next one. They're gonna look at it. Okay.
The other thing that we're looking for too is clarity, right? So you can kind of see this is a little bit foggy. Yeah. Right? That's the infusion that they put into it. Right, so it's you get that little bit of
like
fogginess.
Alka-Seltzer.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And it's a little off-putting, right?
But it has a better nose than number one.
It does have a better nose. This one is a little bit more pure on that aroma. Yeah. And I haven't tried this one yet, so.
All right. Okay, more watered down. Yeah. Yeah, that's super watered down.
That's rough.
Yeah,
that's rough.
Okay, so look.
I don't know if he's gonna make it.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Drinks are hard.
They are very hard.
Drinks are hard. You don't want it to taste like soda, but I don't think I've had the perfect cannabis beverage. Hopefully that can change today.
I think we're gonna do something.
Okay,
okay.
I love it.
Let's move on to number 3.
Okay, all right. Let's do number 3. You still with us, Tammy? Right now, number 1 and number 2 are buckshot.
So this one, I know which one this is. So this is actually a ruby grapefruit. So which is why it's got
nose
that
on that is crazy.
And the nose on it
smells
Yeah, the nose on it is powerful.
Yeah, and
right?
it has the same look as number 2, but the nose on it is a lot better.
I can see the lip.
But you can.
Okay,
Yeah.
now that's horrible. That's fucking horrible.
Yeah, that's
horrible.
Really tart.
Yeah, fuck.
And it lingers. So that's the thing with grapefruit. Like,
I just feel like I can't judge the weed because I'm judging the grapefruit.
You have to enjoy the experience.
Well, and this is the thing, right? So as I'm assessing beverages, there are certain times
we're gonna call out which one is 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, yeah.
Too.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Fuck yeah. All right.
What was it?
So there are times where I can't even get to the effect of the assessment because I can't stomach.
Right,
the
I can't drink a whole can of that.
No.
No.
So let's do the last one.
Okay.
And then we'll do the big reveal.
Last one. Okay. All right. So we're looking at number 4. You can actually it's more transparent than the others.
Mm-hmm. But there's still the lip.
Yeah, it's still a little. It has a little tint to it. You won't get pulled over, but it's nice. All right, nice. Okay, but it doesn't have the noses like the other 3 are strong. Now that tastes great.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
That tastes great.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4 tastes great. It definitely kicked the other 3 in the dick.
Yeah, I would not drink the other 3.
Yeah, fucking horrible.
I don't like
I can actually rock with this.
I don't taste any weed.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
All right, so you ready for the reveal?
Yeah.
All right, so
I'm guessing number 4 is Rexis.
Number 4
Yeah,
number 4 is ours. Yes.
Yo.
So, I mean, it's so number 1 was Can. Number 2 was Rebel Rabbit. Number 3 was Cycling Frog, and number 4 was Squared.
Okay, the first 3 y'all need to fire.
Oh my gosh.
Fire your motherfucking whoever does your formulations.
It was so bad.
Fire them niggas.
For the people that are here watching live, can we get them taste tests too? That was terrible.
Yeah, that was
100%.
fucking wowzers. Wowzers. Yeah. That sucked.
And so,
but number 4 is great though. I mean, I'm not bullshitting. I'm glad we did it this way. Cause man, look, finding a beverage that tastes good and still has the effects that you want in cannabis is difficult to do. But it seems like you guys nailed it.
So yeah, and I mean the flavor profiles that our CEO is able to put together across the entire lineup are phenomenal.
That was delicious.
You know what it tastes like? It tastes like remember back in the day those New York seltzers? And remember those? Those were they were a hit for a long time. They little grenade sized bottles. Man, that tastes great. It was good.
That tasted very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I like the most about that one, because I'm like you. Typically, I don't like grapefruit flavor, and I don't like grapefruits in general. But when I tried this, I was like, "That's our dark horse."
Yeah,
because it's so hard to do right, and you get that flavor profile of the grapefruit, but it doesn't linger. Right. It dissipates very quickly, which keeps it very refreshing.
Right.
So like if I'm down at the pool by the beach or at the beach or something like that, this is my jam.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll drink a bunch of those.
Very impressed, hands down. So how long has Rexis been in business, and what are your plans for distribution?
So great question. The business actually has 3 different divisions to it. So we have our licensing division, which is how we play in the regulated space. So the founder and CEO and his co-founder and COO, they started off by they wanted to have an actual regulated business here in Cali. And they quickly figured out that was not going to make them money. Right. So what they do now is they actually work with licensed manufacturers in legal states, and we bring our equipment into their manufacturing facility. We leave everything there except for one piece, which is like the secret piece, and our tech, he travels with it. So when a company is ready to produce a bunch of the powder, we'll send a tech out with that piece. They provide the oil. He processes it all into a completely water-soluble, odorless, tasteless powder that they can then input into their own products, either edibles or beverages, or they can resell it to other companies that are co-packing with them.
So I nailed it with that question. What's the bonding agent? That's the secret sauce right there.
It is the secret sauce, and we, from the notes that I've been given by my CEO is that secret sauce is kind of like the Coca-Cola secret sauce, where he gets stuff from different places to create that secret sauce, so that way no one knows exactly what's in it except for him.
That's probably why the others are suffering. Listen, I'm not trying to shit on them. That's not what we're here to do.
No.
I was purely reacting to the way that it hit my taste buds, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's where I think you're kind of trying to describe where others are struggling, because it's hard to make it taste good and still have that effect, right?
Yeah, and keep it without, dozens of grams of sugar in there, or adding bitter blockers, which is basically just more chemicals into your beverage.
What's the sugar content on one of the cans of these?
So on our grapefruit, it's currently at 2 grams of sugar and 8 calories.
2 grams of sugar?
2 grams of sugar. So
is there any other sweeteners?
So
that just was great.
Yeah.
Our co-crystal is actually a sugar alcohol.
Okay.
So when we bind it together with the active molecule, it becomes inert, but it keeps a kind of sweet flavor to it. So we don't have to use as much sugar.
It wasn't overly sweet at all,
no, it wasn't.
But it tastes better compared to the other. You set that up on purpose. You was like, I'm gonna hit them with the real bullshit.
Well, so here's the fun part, right? And we talk about this a lot. If you've never tried a cannabis beverage and you try one of our beverages, the unsurprised look on people's faces is like, yeah, that's what that's supposed to taste like.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But if you've had other cannabis beverages before and then you try ours, that like reaction is like it's great. Totally different.
Yeah.
And so what we look at is we believe there's space in the industry for all different types of beverages. It's just what we're trying to do is raise the bar a little bit, because we believe that the hemp infused beverage space has a lot of implications for essentially beating the path for broader legalization for other categories. And part of that is beverages are such a core part of our lifestyle. Like at any given time, I've got 2 or 3 beverages on my desk with me. Coffee, probably one of mine, one of the squares, maybe an energy drink, right? Like there's always a drink around. So it's so approachable for consumers. So that normalization factor is like, oh, okay, I can just drink it. Plus it's really easy to titrate, right? Because you can take a couple of sips, wait a few minutes and see how you feel. And most of the beverages, even no matter what input they're using, you're going to get a little bit of effect within 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. And that's the technology where we're at today. That's standardizing across the board. The differentiation is, with the ones that break down, that oil then turns into more of an edibles experience, where you're going to end up with that 11-hydroxy THC experience. It's going to last a little bit longer. So our kind of differentiator here is we've tailored our product to actually onboard in about 10 to 15 minutes, just like drinking alcohol would be. But
so we're gonna feel this right now.
No, you haven't drank quite enough of it.
Break it out. What the fuck? What are you doing?
Well, we're doing the taste test now. The effects test is after.
Oh, okay, cool. But we have a whole can, right?
And I've got actually a little present for you. We'll do that in a minute.
Okay, cool. All right. So let me ask you something real quick. Because you said describing and make it into a powder, right? So what do you think of those new things that are out there? It's the electrolyte packets, and you pour them in water. And like, is that a scam? Like, is that? I mean, like, it seems like that's a scam.
Like, you're talking like liquid IV?
The liquid IV.
Yeah. You know, it's the packets. My girl swears by them now. She's like, you have your electrolytes. I was like, what the fuck? Why is that so important right now?
It's like flavored salt packets.
Basically. Yeah. It's basically, instead of a salt lick, you've got liquid IV.
Yeah.
It's appetizing.
But you didn't. Is it a scam?
You do need electrolytes. Especially if you're drinking a lot of water. You need to at least get some in, because then you. So
I mean, electrolytes are found in like Pedialyte, Gatorade, all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
they're getting put into everything now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's that new wave of beverages.
It's
that
gonna be like
out.
Idiocracy. Like everybody's talking about electrolytes.
I feel like we're definitely on the way to that.
Well, where we're headed is a world where all beverages will be functional beverages.
Yeah.
It's not just about drinking to enjoy the flavor anymore. It's all about
does it do something?
What can this beverage do for me?
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh.
And so that's partially why we love what we do so much, is because we can actually look at trends in the marketplace. Like one of the big ones right now is functional mushrooms, right? Where you got your lion's mane, you got a bunch of other different functional mushrooms that have specific desired effects on the back end. And so we actually work with a company called First Person. They make some functional mushroom pills that you can take, and they've got very specific effects that they're looking to achieve. The problem with mushrooms is they tend to smell and taste terrible. And so First Person had kind of earmarked a few mushrooms that they wanted to work with, but no matter how they extracted from them, they couldn't get that finished product to be palatable at all. So now with our tech, we're able to take 99.9% of that odor and that flavor out and give them pure effect. And so now they can create stuff where they've got a stick pack, which is just like the liquid IV. It's just a pack of powder, drop that right into some water, and you've got your functional drink right there. But it doesn't taste like, well, mud water, which would be, I guess, one of their competitors, right?
Yeah.
So typically when you see functional mushrooms, it's usually added to coffee. And that's because that bitterness of the coffee and the bitterness of the mushrooms, it masks each other. And most people are accustomed to that flavor profile of coffee.
My sister called me talking about some mushroom coffee or mushroom tea in the morning. I'm not fully, I'm still on a coffee.
Four Sigmatic, probably.
Yeah. She's like, she swears by it. She's like, it does all these great things.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm like, all right.
You should get on it. Functional mushrooms are like the new medicine.
Now you know me and mushrooms. We don't get along. It's
functional ones.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the so we ain't talking about psilocybin, right?
We play there too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We have a product that we've got in the waiting right now. It's called Voyage, because why take a trip when you can take a voyage?
Ooh, fantastic voyage.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And in Voyage, we've got over 18 different molecules that we've actually fused together that include hemp extracts, some vitamins, some amino acids, psilocybin. And the other part about our technology is we don't do a witch's brew. And what I mean by that is if we're doing like THC and CBD and a few different molecules, we don't put them in separately and then stir it up. We literally take all the molecules and fuse them together into one. And what that does is that actually creates a consistency of effect. Because typically when you do that witch's brew, from day to day, can to can, you're going to get different levels of each molecule. It can be like my butter
when I make cannabis
exactly,
butter.
Right?
One end is way stronger than the other.
It's always way stronger, right? Yeah. So you don't get that effect. You're literally consuming one molecule, and you may get a little bit more of it today than you get tomorrow, but the effect, the actual thing you're expecting, is always the same.
Dan, you're holding out on me. Where's the fucking can? Give me a can. I'd like to enjoy that while we're talking.
All right. So which one are you looking for?
Yours.
All right. So that's ours. The cool part, again, about our tech too is that onboard factor is quick. But what we've done is we've tailored the offload of our beverages to be within an hour.
Yeah.
So what you can do is you can have 2 or 3 of them in a sitting, and by the time you're at number 3, number 1's already kind of worn off.
Yeah. These are, well, I like to call them weird beers. You know, my folks like to drink the little what do you call them? The little seltzers and
the White Claws.
Yeah, White Claws, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so this is packaged kind of the same way, but how far away from actually being able to go to a store and having the option outside of a dispensary like a regular retail 7-Eleven gas station, how far away from that are we with this?
We're there, man. We're absolutely there, 100%. Every state's a little bit different, but right now the regulatory framework is really starting to lay out very well to bring these more mainstream. And actually, we've gotten some calls in from some beverage companies that are in the regulated market, and that's kind of how they approach us. Like, we want to go more mainstream, and we never really thought that would be kind of the day of like the inflection point, you know, where in Minnesota, I mean, they've been doing it for almost 2 years now, where you can go to a grocery store, a liquor store, a coffee shop, and you can buy THC infused beverages.
How do you go to market right now, your company?
So our company, we actually are about as verticalized as you can get. And so what that means, we own almost every stage of the process. The only things that we don't do is grow the hemp and extract. But we create the input. We manufacture the beverages. We have a canning facility out in Florida, and then we distribute out to we mainly work with craft beer distributors, and we distribute out to them, and then they take it out to retail.
Wow!
But we're working with
THC
a lot of
products,
THC products,
hemp
derived THC
derived
products.
THC, so
no THC in it.
No, there's
no,
THC
it's
in there.
THC, but it's hemp derived. It's not cannabis.
We're talking about
derived, which is
the Delta 8.
It's
no, it's literally a hemp plant can only express 0.3% and below THC. That's all she's allowed to express. Once it's 0.4, she's now a cannabis plant. But if you can get her under 0.3%, she's a hemp plant. It's just a legal definition.
Right.
It's paperwork.
Yeah.
Essentially. Essentially, yeah. But I mean, it's inevitably that's all that the legalization of cannabis requires, paperwork.
So you have the capability to do stronger beverages with cannabis derived. So is the process different? Is it taste different? Like,
no, not typically. We can go stronger. In fact, we're working with Smokies to do some beverage enhancement. We call them Mios, but they're basically like a little squeeze bottle. You can kind of squeeze the liquid out into some water and stir it up, and you got your beverage there. But I think for those we're doing 100 milligrams in a bottle.
Yeah. But can you do 100 milligrams in one of those? We
could, but the problem is we wouldn't be able to actually sell them in more mainstream retailers. The regulatory framework tries to keep most of the THC beverages to about 5 milligrams per serving. And in some cases, like New York, they just put regulations into place where you have to actually infuse on a 15-to-1 ratio CBD to THC, and the maximum amount of cannabinoids in total you can have in the beverage is 25. So what that does is that limits you to basically like about, I don't do math in my head typically, but like 1.5 milligrams of THC, which for most people, they're just not going to feel it.
I don't think that's fair. Some people have CBD sensitivities. And dosing them with hundreds and hundreds of milligrams of CBD to counteract their THC is a very bad idea.
Yeah, no, and for us, we kind of look at it like we don't know where the regulators are getting these numbers from.
Yeah, and also CBD can tax the liver at really high amounts. You have to be careful, just like Tylenol.
Yeah, no, and there's really no rhyme or reason to why they made it that ratio or why it had to be a ratio at all.
1. That's crazy. That's
insane.
Nuts. That is so bad for the liver. Like, their laws are creating damage where it's not even necessary.
Nope. Right. And I mean, I don't know what the impetus of that decision was. Like, initially they posed it as an emergency regulation because they were trying to protect children. And to me, like, I don't know many children going in buying THC beverages. It's one of those things where we got to play by the rules that are set.
Yeah.
And so if we want to go more national and we want to be in more places and really start to help normalize the plant and normalize these products, we keep them low dose so that we can get them into those mainstream places. And we find that eventually you're going to start seeing drinks and edibles in more mainstream retailers. Now, I don't think you're ever going to walk into a Vons and be able to buy an eighth of flower, right? Like, I just don't see that happening. But, as we look towards the future, more mainstream locations will start to carry stuff like food and beverage.
There's something to be said to, of like grassroots growing as well.
Yeah.
We can shoot for the moon, all the time. I mean, like we see a lot of different approaches to the cannabis business.
Mm-hmm.
Like that being said, do you guys do vending machines?
We don't right now. It's not really something that we've explored as a business. I don't know of any vending machines doing beverage right now. It's a great idea. You should.
I've seen a CBD vending machine.
Yeah, vending machines. But here's what I've been seeing a lot of. Just like everything is morphing as far as consumption lounges and whatnot.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that necessarily don't want to go to a dispensary.
Yeah.
Right. So I've seen, especially at MJ BizCon, there was a gentleman that came up, and then I saw something after that. They have vending machines that you could put in studios, private places, clubs, clubhouses, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they have rolling like papers, blunts, cannabis.
I've seen it in the regulated market. I've seen
Right.
it in the regulated market. I've never seen one for like hemp beverages like out in front of a 7-Eleven or something.
Right. No, but I'm just saying like in places that you can go now.
Yeah.
Like there's thousands of studios around Los Angeles that would love to have a vending machine that has that beverage in it and that has, you know what I'm saying? That I'm just saying there's other places. I like to put paint where it ain't.
No, I think it's a great idea.
Like this beverage, I would, if I had one and I could go walk up to a machine. Now I wouldn't go drive to a dispensary just to get a beverage.
Right.
But if it's convenient and right there, oh man, I'd be at this all day.
Yeah. And I think, what we've seen is there's been an explosion of e-commerce, direct to consumer sales for the beverage industry, which is kind of counterintuitive when you think about it. Cause when was the last time you bought a Coca-Cola online or a Red Bull?
Shit, Postmates, bro.
Like,
that shit's coming.
Gone to the
Yeah.
Coca-Cola website, right? But
yeah.
it's, in order to go more national, in order to reach more people, that online scenario really helps to just expand our presence and really allow us to get more what we call cans in hands, right?
Yeah.
You got to get cans in hand and get people trying this stuff.
I appreciate the low dosage too. And, buying it online while this whole THC gray area exists, I love that people are getting more access to good products, and educational and really good technology, because no shade to the other drinks, but I would not purchase those. I wouldn't.
Fire them niggas. That shit was horrible.
It was not. Yeah, I didn't really care for it. Yours was delicious. More people want to come to the plant, but they don't want to smoke because of the stigma around smoking.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot more people like myself too. Like I'm married to a non-consumer. So, I used to smoke flower a lot more than I do now. And for me now, like smoking flower is a treat. Like if I'm on a guys weekend or something, then I'll smoke some flower. But like other than that, I'm either drinking or I'll use my vape because it's just convenient and the aroma is not there as much. Yeah. But I mean, I think the beverage market has such a amazing ability to really start bringing new consumers to the plant. And for us, we approach all of our products, not just in the cannabis space, but like we're looking to create plant-based medicine, right? Because we believe that the plants that God gave us can do a lot more for us naturally than most of the garbage they're pushing over the counter.
Yeah, that's the good fight right
and
there.
With the technology that we're using, we can actually give you less input, but still achieve the same effects. So, for example, our energy drink that we're getting ready to launch, it's called Morph Monkey, and we use a proprietary hydrocaffeine. And our hydrocaffeine is about 5 times more potent than standard caffeine.
Oh, shit.
So what that allows us to do is put less in the drink. So rather than putting 150 to 200 milligrams of caffeine in there, we put 35. And you still get that same effect that you get out of drinking any other type of energy drink. That's
you shouldn't have said that. People going to want to have they'll put the whole thing in there.
Yeah. I mean, just mainline it. But,
right, truly.
But that beverage has only 35 milligrams of caffeine, only 3 grams of sugar, and only 9 calories.
Wow.
Right. And so for us, it's all about creating better for you products. Right. That still give you the effects you're looking for, that still provide an amazing experience, but you don't have to shove that much garbage into your system every day. It's just it's too much.
Yeah, the amount I remember looking at a beverage one time, and the amount that was in it was like 6 milligrams of THC. So I was like, good, I'll need to drink 3, but I'm gonna be full. And then I'm looking at like the sugar content and all the other stuff, and I'm like, this isn't gonna be a fun experience at all.
I think you guys are onto something great. How can they find you?
So they can find Rexis at Rexis Biotech on Instagram. Squared is Let's Get Squared, and that's actually we started using that term because we knew we couldn't say Let's Get High on Instagram. So it was like, how do we work this in? So it's like, Let's Get Squared. So that's they can find us at Let's Get Squared for that beverage, at Morph Monkey for our energy drink. But we're all over Instagram across a multitude of different products.
Awesome, man. I wish you much success with the business. Rexis, Dan, you've opened my eyes to what to look for and what to stay away from.
Look for the beverages. Powered by Rexis stamp on the back.
That's right. Yeah. Do you guys do white label beverages, or do you
we work with one of the largest hemp manufacturers in the world, 3Chi. We manufacture all their beverage products, and they're amazing to work with. If you haven't seen their brand, they sponsored Kyle Busch's NASCAR this last year. They invested in Barstool Sports, so they're about as mainstream as it gets. We also work with Smokies, First Person, so we work with a lot of third parties where we're either collaboratively building products or we're white labeling for them. Awesome. But then we have our own private label that we sell as well. So.
Okay, cool. So reach out for Dan through Instagram. Go to Rexis, go to Squared. Congratulations, man, and much success going forward.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, it's the Lasagna Ganja podcast. I'm Mr. X to the Z Xzibit.
And I'm your girl, Tammy, a.k.a. the Cannabis Cutie.
We're going to wait for these beverages to kick the fuck in. It's going down. All right, Dan's in the house. You guys look him up. Lasagna Ganja podcast. Layers to this.
Check out the Lasagna Ganja podcast, wherever podcasts are streamed.
And check out our separate feed with video episodes.
Available on Spotify and YouTube.
For more information, visit dcpofficial.com.